when parents happy and active. Are you happy? That's the answer some of you asked this morning about the conflict between older person and younger generation, competition between older and younger person. Active aging is not only for the older person but for the whole population. So there is no conflict. It's not a zero-sum, a win-win situation. If you care about the older person, then you reduce the financial liability, and this is good for everybody. In terms of job, I think when we create active aging, that can also help the productivity of the younger generation. Another thing is that I'm not suggesting for raising retirement age as a national. I'm suggesting abolishing retirement age, because I think that payment, reward, shouldn't depend on the age of a person. A younger person is 21 years old. If she is very productive, she should get high payment. So she should get high payment even though she is only 22 years old. Somebody is 80 years old, should get high payment too if he is very productive. So I think it's against the human right to give payment simply because of the age. I think this is what should work. Abolish the retirement age. And I'm also happy that in this audience we have participants from Bank Indonesia. I think at least there are two. I think the participants of colleagues from Bank of Indonesia are very important for our program for the older person in Indonesia. Next thing I like to mention on the title here is the thing that I become reflection. Do you know that revolution will be carried out by the older person in the future? Usually we talk about the younger generation carrying on the revolution. But I have a hypothesis that next revolution will be carried out by the older person. Why? It's demographic change. The younger generation becoming smaller. They are busy with economic things. They are busy with their job. So, and it is very risky for them to have revolution. They may lose their job. But the older person, 60 years and over, they will have responsibility for the children, and they have nothing to lose. So they have more time to contemplate. So even changing paradigm can be started by the older person. So when we have a cabinet with reflecting aging population, then well, this is very interesting to talk about 2040 in Indonesia, because they said this is the time of the younger generation. But demographically, it will be a very challenging time in the politics too. Next slide. Do you know that man? What is he doing? He is melamun. He is contemplating. So my presentation today is more philosophical. I'm asking myself, when I will be 55 next month, do I still want to work? If no, what will I do? If yes, what kind of job do I want? Why do I want to work? Am I happy now? What is the purpose of life? Next slide. When I was in Jakarta, often in a car, in a red light, suddenly a group of persons approached the car and motorcycle, offering their service to wipe the windscreen, to sell many things, newspaper and begging for money. The group members included some older men and women. They earn money. Mereka semua bekerja. Next slide. That's in Jakarta. But in Singapore, I cannot escape seeing older men and women doing quote-unquote artwork in hawker centers. Hawker center itu tempat makan yang murah. They did dirty tables and dishes, mop the floor, sell tissue paper, and even ask for money. They say to it. Some others clean public toilet. Next slide. On the other hand, some older men and women do not do anything. They live in very beautiful houses. They travel a lot. They have rich children to support them. One older man works in his son's business and he enjoys the work so much, not because of the money. He also receives the profit from his business. The older woman enjoys her leisure. When she was young, she worked in their shop. Now she possesses her leisure, doing exercises, visiting friends, meeting his children, her children, children-in-law, and grandchildren. So which one do you want? Do you want to work in the whole time simply for economic survival, or do you want to work without money but you're happy and somebody else support you? Which one do you want? Next slide. The objective of presentation is not to answer the philosophical question. I'm sorry for that. But the purpose of this presentation is simply to examine employment as one means to finance older person, with Southeast Asia and particularly Indonesia as an illustration. However, this philosophical question should be posed, should be asked whenever we discuss employment, regardless the age. That's very important, regardless the age, also for the younger generation. Next slide. This is a little bit theoretical, but I think it is very important to put the framework of older person. Actually not for only older person, but also for younger generation. There are two sources of support for whoever, young or old, especially the old one. The financial support and the non-financial support. Non-financial support is like when the younger generation, family or relative help the older person without pay. That's also support for older person. That's non-financial. Non-financial support are also very important. Older person help each other. That's non-financial support. That's not included in the calculation of economic growth. But that's very important. Why not included in economic growth? Because economists must be reformed. I'm economist. Financial support consists of three things: wealth, income, and transfer payment. This distinction is very important. When we call income, that is from me. My income is from me because saya berkeringat, saya bekerja, because I'm working, I'm sweating. I got my money, my income from the interest, from money I put in the bank. I got rent from my house rented for somebody else. I got profit because I have business, I have shares, and I am earning because I work, because I teach, because I do research, I do many things. That's earning. But we have also wealth. Wealth is the accumulation of saving. When we work, we have saving. When we keep the saving and we accumulate, we have wealth. In addition to wealth and income, we have transfer payment. Transfer payment is not income. Transfer payment is not wealth. But this is money we receive from somebody else, not because we work. But we got money from our relative, we get money from our friends, we got money from the government. That is transfer payment. We don't do anything, but we get help. That is transfer payment. So there are this kind of support must be considered when we are talking about the older persons. Next slide. Active aging. I think we have talked about active aging, and there is only one thing. Are there any economists in this room except me? No economists except me. No economists. And I'm economist. When I learn economics, being healthy is important because it is good for economic growth. That's what I learned since I was undergraduate until I finished my PhD. So, for economists, active aging is good as long as it is good for economic growth. So, I would suggest for my fellow economists, change the mindset, change the curriculum. So, being healthy is not a means for economic growth. Yes, if people are healthy, economy will be growing. Yes, if people are healthy, people become more productive. But being healthy and active aging is one goal of development, not a means for economic growth. Economic growth is needed, but it is a means for being healthy. Economic growth is a means for active aging. I hope my friends who are economists are not angry, because then we have to change the textbook. Next, simple thing. Patterns of employment of older persons in some countries and sub-national region in Southeast Asia. This is some of our work we have done in Institute of Southeast Asian Studies. Some of the conclusion is as follows. Next slide. Yeah. The result is not very interesting because it's the similar in industrial country. What are the conclusion? Older persons are more likely to work in more flexible working environment. Let's say in Southeast Asia, also in industrial country. Older persons are more likely to work as self-employed or unpaid workers, skilled agricultural and fishery workers, and in agricultural or service sector. The tendency to work in this job may reflect the availability of employment opportunities in the labor market, as well as the skill of the older person. Next slide. It is not clear, however, whether this pattern of employment of older person will remain in the future. In particular, future employment opportunities may require less rigorous physical efforts, and this job will better suit to the health condition of the future older person. In the older person can also join the army because of the technology in the army. Next, and what happened in Indonesia in 1998 to 2007. Next slide. Indonesia, we define working age population as 15 years old and over. Anybody from Badan Pusat Statistik, Indonesian Statistical Agency? I think Komnas Lamsia may congratulate BPS. Why? Because they already abolished retirement age. They define working age as 15 years old and over, no limit. In United States, 50 to 64. But in Indonesia, no age limit. So BPS already abolished retirement age on their statistic of employment. I think that's the achievement of Indonesian statistician. I hope any statistician from BPS convey my congratulations to BPS, even though they may not think about this when they created this. But actually, the statistics in Indonesia are in agreement with the program of older person in Indonesia and in the world that there should be no retirement age. And that's the working age population. Now we talk about working age population 60 and over. Then we have to distinguish. There are people who are not in the labor force and people who are in the labor force. For those who are 60 and over, the growth rate of those not in the labor force is greater than the growth rate of those in the labor force. It's not surprising. And older men are more likely to be in the labor force than older women. But the future scenario may change. Next slide. And how about those not in the labor force? There are three kinds of jobs of not in the labor force. First is in school. Second, doing household work. And three, others. What is others? What are others? We do know. This is something very interesting. And older persons are more likely to do others when they are out of the labor force. If they are out of the labor force, they are more likely to do others. They are not doing school, they are not doing household work. And older men are more likely to do others. They don't study, they don't do anything in the household, they do. This is some recommendation how to contribute employment. We must remember, employment is only one means to support the older person. There are so many ways. But then here I'll focus on how to optimize the contribution of employment. This is not the only means, but one. First, enhance the health and scale of older person. We talked already. Make older person as competitive advantage. We talked about Rector already mentioned older person as an emerging asset. So we have to transform the thinking that older persons are liability, older persons are asset. It is we have to be proud to be older person. So we should be that, oh, congratulations, Pak, you are very old now. That should be a compliment. So I like to change that one. Rather than being young, I like to say that being old is something should be congratulated. Oh, and the whole time we always congratulate people being old.
So violate the human rights because not everybody wants to work all the time, or because when we are talking about the people who working in informal sector, of course not the elderly who stay here, who have potential, secure financial support, but then for village people or who working, like you say, as beggar in the streets, then they have to work. There is no option for them then to work for life or for until they die, something like that. Thank you.
Other question? Comment? So I think this is for Paris. Oh, yeah. Ibu Congress, okay. Yeah, please go.
Thank you. I would like to ask question to Pak Arif. I appreciate about what is the importance of your last paper, that is active aging. But I think it is not that we have to work. But I would like to work, but for looking for satisfaction. It is not to work to support economically, because we have very limited of economy. But active aging is we are healthy, we are older okay, but membrane away, or we are older okay, but we couldn't wait. That is what my understanding of active aging. So I'm looking for satisfaction. I'm a retired person from the Department of Public Works. I'm 64 years old, and I don't want to work anymore like before in the office. I don't want to work like that. But I'm very happy as grandmother, and I like for maybe spiritual and anything for my at the end of my life. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice presentation. I'm Harissa from the Nutrition Department, Faculty of Human Ecology, Bogor Agriculture University. I'm wondering, any studies reveal that what is the expectation of the adult when they will be elderly people? And any also studies reveal that what is the expectation of the elderly people for themselves? When we conduct a small study among the IPB staff at the Bogor Agriculture University, the two most worries of the staff when they will be only two, about the disease and about the who people look after them. Any other large-scale studies on that? Thank you very much.
I think the question is mainly to the eyes, but I think Dr. Rojao and also the Matatila can add or
Terima kasih, Bu Eka. No retirement age, meaning that people can work. We cannot stop people from working, but if they don't want to work, it's also their right. So, but if we have retirement age, that means people cannot continue to work. But with the abolishment of retirement age, people can choose whether to work or not to work. And next, Ibu also mentioned that we want to have working for satisfaction. That's actually what I really like to emphasize. And that means that the program on older person shouldn't be separated from the economic development program. And those two, the one who works on economic development program should also change their paradigm from economic growth to non-economic growth. So with small economic growth, then everybody, many people will be forced to work for economic survival. So we need growth. I'm not anti-growth. I'm not anti-growth from a fellow economist. I'm not anti-growth. Growth is needed, but growth is not the goal of development. It is a means to achieve satisfaction. So I think that's my answer.
Yeah, the question from Prof. Abinsa about adult expectation when they become adult. I think this question could be answered also by Prof. Abinsa.
Yeah, in the Japanese case, and older person wish to continue their working status because they are very healthy with work, and if they lost work, they fall in sickness. Then they wish to work not for in order to get money, but to get a healthy condition of their later life. Then maybe there are many different types of working programs, and it's not only employment programs, but also self-employment policy or some kind of volunteering strategies and other programs. And how to make these kinds of different types of working policies by the national governments and the local governments. And there are many different types of combinations. For example, Irodori, the rural case, it's a local governments invest some money, and agricultural cooperative association also invest some money, and all the farmers collaborated with each other. They are making a new community business, and their motivation is not for their own earning, but how to contribute to the world and how to contribute to their offspring. And if they get some money, she donate to the children and grandchildren. This is for the meaning of their daily life. This kind of a motivation is a very important factor for thinking about this older person to working status.